Hi everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we're totally demystifying the critical math behind DC voltage drop. If you're looking to ensure your battery systems aren't just barely surviving, but are actually safe and highly efficient, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's just dive right in. Okay, picture this. It's a frustrating scenario that happens all the time. You drop some serious cash on these massive, heavy-duty copper cables, yet your inverter just keeps shutting down with low voltage alarms, and your battery voltage completely collapses the second a heavy load hits it. You might even notice the cable's getting a bit warm. So what on earth is going on here? Well, the root cause almost always boils down to some really common sizing myths. Most internet advice relies strictly on super simplified rules and basic ampacity charts, basically telling you, hey, just use a 4-0 cable for a big inverter and you'll be fine. The problem with that? These rules completely ignore the really complex, sensitive dynamics of a continuous battery discharge in a low-voltage DC system. So let's jump straight into Section 1, the ampacity chart myth, and why just surviving the heat simply isn't enough. Look, there is a massive distinction here between thermal survival and true electrical performance. Sure, a cable might easily survive a 200 amp continuous load thermally, meaning, it doesn't literally melt its insulation off or start a fire. But electrically, that same cable could be causing massive power loss. It could be dropping so much voltage that it triggers your inverter's alarms or causes your battery's BMS to just trip offline. Current carrying capacity is really only half the story here. Moving right along to Section 2, the voltage drop math. This is where we start visualizing the invisible enemy. It all fundamentally starts right here with Ohm's law. Voltage equals current multiplied by resistance. This formula is absolutely crucial because it shows that as your current increases, even tiny, seemingly insignificant bits of resistance will proportionally increase the voltage you lose. And that lost voltage, it never even reaches your inverter. It literally just vanishes from your usable electrical path. So where is that resistance actually coming from? Your cables, mostly. But here is the catch. Actually, scratch that, it's more like a common trap. A lot of people only measure their positive conductor. But current has to travel out and back. Your complete electrical path includes both conductors. If you double your round-trip cable length, you immediately double your resistance, which doubles your voltage drop. Every single extra foot or meter you add is just adding loss. Which brings us nicely to Section 3, calculating real power loss, or what actually happens when that voltage drop turns into heat. Seriously, what happens to that lost voltage out in the real world? It transforms straight into heat. This formula, power equals current squared times resistance, is easily one of the most vital things we're going to cover today. Notice how the current is squared? That means high amperage systems are exponentially more sensitive. If you double your current, you don't just double your heat, you create 4 times the heating effect. That right there is exactly why large inverter systems demand such incredibly careful cable selection. Let's make this concrete with a quick practical example. Imagine you're pulling a 200 amp continuous draw through a circuit that has just 0.02 of an ohm of total resistance. Sounds tiny, right? Plug that into Ohm's law and it causes a 0.4 of a volt drop. Now, 0.4 volts might sound completely harmless, but here is the real danger. When we calculate the actual power loss, that tiny 0.4 volt drop at 200 amps equals 80 watts of energy. Think about that for a second. That is 80 watts of power, just continuously baking into your cables, your lugs, and your terminals, turning them into a literal space heater the entire time your system is running. Okay, let's hit Section 4, why system voltage matters, and the huge advantage of bumping up to higher voltages. Let's say you need to run a 2400 watt load. On a standard 12-volt system, you are pushing roughly 200 amps of current to do that. But if you step up to a 24-volt system, your current gets sliced in half to 100 amps. Step up again to a 48-volt system, and your current plummets to just 50 amps, all to deliver the exact same amount of power. Since power loss squares with the current, remember that formula from a minute ago? Stepping up to a 48-volt system is an absolute game changer. Lower current means you can use way smaller cables, you get dramatically lower power losses, and you generate far less cable heating. It honestly just makes designing and sizing your whole system a breeze. All right, let's tackle Section 5, the hidden failure points. Because guess what? It is definitely not always the cable's fault. You could do all the math perfectly, buy the thickest copper out there, and still end up with hotspots and power drops. Why? Well, often the weak link isn't the wire itself, it's the actual connections. A sloppy crimp, a lug that isn't torqued down, hidden corrosion, or just undersized terminals, these act like a massive bottleneck right where hundreds of amps are trying to squeeze through. Thermal cameras practically light up at these poor connection points. So, how do we track down these invisible bottlenecks? It's pretty straightforward, really. You just verify your installation with a multimeter. Measure the voltage directly at your battery terminals, and then measure it again at your inverter's DC input while the system is under heavy load. The difference between those two numbers, that is your real-world voltage drop across every single connector and connection. Final section, number 6, designing for ultimate safety. This is where we engineer our systems way beyond those basic ampacity charts. Now that we've exposed the math and all those sneaky hidden risks, let's lock in some guarantees. Your main mission here is to absolutely minimize resistance. Keep those round-trip cable runs as short as humanly possible. Oversize your conductors based on the actual voltage drop math, not just what a generic chart says. And this is crucial. Use high-quality lugs, ensure perfect crimps, apply the proper torque, and keep everything spotlessly clean. Look, if you take away absolutely nothing else from this explainer today, please remember this one core engineering principle. A cable can survive thermally and still be severely undersized electrically. Surviving an ampacity chart is simply not the same thing as safely and efficiently running a sensitive electronic inverter. You've got to design for the continuous load, and you absolutely must design for voltage drop. As we wrap things up today, I've got a question to leave you with. What is the highest DC voltage drop you have ever actually measured between your battery bank and your inverter under load? Go check your own system, do the math, put a load on it, measure the drop, and make sure your setup isn't secretly just wasting all that valuable energy as heat. Stay safe out there, stay efficient, and keep learning.